Junior Mint episode is another episode that I just feel, it's one of the first things you would think of when you talk about Seinfeld. There is, of course, the contest. Not that there's anything wrong with that. The yada yada. Bunch of different things. The Junior Mint, I feel like, is one, of course, that stands out. Back in season 3, whenever they did the Pez dispenser episode, Pez just flew up in stock again whenever they did that episode. And the Junior Mints, I feel like, are popular because of this episode. A freaky mishap happened with it, of course. And the writer, Andy Robin, he couldn't believe that they went through this episode. He thought it was just a dumb idea that just worked really good. There's really two stories involving this episode. The first, of course, the main one, which involved the Junior Men, was Elaine's old boyfriend, who was an artist, being in the hospital, getting ready to have his spleen removed. And then the other one was Jerry dated a woman, but he did not know her name. All he knew was that that her name rhymed with a female body part, which I know what it is, but I don't want to say it. And I'm embarrassed to admit that I didn't know that it was a body part until a few years ago. Shows how much I'm a late bloomer about a lot of things. But the episode began with Jerry and George in Jerry's apartment, and he's mentioned he met this woman at a supermarket, but he didn't know her name. He didn't get to find out what her name was, but they're going to be going out on a date. George also was telling Jerry that he received a letter from the state controller's office. I guess he used to, do some donation or something. I can't remember what exactly it was, but basically he was getting a check for $1,900. Elaine then, of course, George, of course, was going to spend it though, and Jerry's telling him, why don't you save it instead of spending it? And then Kramer came in as Jerry was tossing these gloves. Kramer came in to catch them, and I guess he needed these gloves he was trying to use for to redo his floors. He was going to basically make his apartment have wooden canvases. It looked like he was living in a log cabin or something like that. And then Elaine comes by, and she says that her old boyfriend Roy is in the hospital, and he's going to be getting his spleen taken out in a few days. She wanted to go, pay him a visit to be nice. But she asked Jerry if he wouldn't mind going with her to basically just, make it obvious, pose as her boyfriend, but she didn't want Roy to think that he was interested. She lost interest, apparently, because he gained weight. So they go to visit Roy, and Elaine is just shocked to see that Roy lost a lot of weight. And, Jerry was posing as the boyfriend, but Roy was, saying how, he was devastated when he lost Elaine, and he just, just tried to improve himself, basically. It was kind of a moment for him. Well, Elaine obviously is seeming, attracted to him again, but Jerry still is trying to play boyfriend role, but then Elaine's trying to, push him off, basically, saying, stop it, without, telling him to do so. Kramer, though, has some concerns about the surgery when he comes by, and he somehow gets permission from the doctor, who is the same doctor who, in the future episodes, gave George the bad news that he took, as the doctor said in the finale, with sweet jubilation. Gave Kramer permission to actually come to watch the surgery be done when it happens in a few days. Of course, though, Roy, though, still has his paintings he sells, and they talk George into spending that money that he had bought, that he had gotten from the state controller's office or whatnot, wherever the heck it was, and spent it on Roy's paintings, which is a bunch of triangles they apparently had up in his apartment. So, of course, Kramer talks Jerry into coming to watch the operation with him. Meanwhile, of course, Jerry goes on a date with a woman and seems to be really hitting it off with her. Of course, that's the first actual date is when she tells Jerry that, when Jerry's trying to get her to say her name, all she said was, what are you thinking? Well, Jerry's saying how people used to make fun of his name. They said how people said to call him Sign Smells, which the woman seemed to be really into Jerry, of course. And then he said, "What about you people making fun of your name?" And all she said was, "Are you kidding me? What do you think it's like when your name rhymes with the female anatomy?" And again, she just started trying to put some moves on Jerry, and obviously, they made out or whatnot. And then basically Jerry's like, "This is worse. Now that we've gotten physical, it's like now it's even worse. I don't even know her name." So obviously they're trying to guess the name: breast, Celeste, nipple, Gipple, or something like that. And then and then Bolvery or Mulva. They couldn't guess the name. They couldn't figure it out. But they kept sticking with Mulva. Kramer, of course, talked Jerry into coming to watch the surgery, though. So he goes with him, and then they're watching the surgery, and there are some students observing the surgery there also. Kramer, though, brings in a box of Junior Mints, and he's eating them, and he tries to offer one to Jerry. And Jerry's like, "I don't want it." And Kramer's trying to force Jerry to take a Junior Mint. Out of it, the mint slips out of his hand and goes flying in the air, comes down, and somehow none of the doctors noticed. It lands inside Roy. Sealed him up. It was in there. Somehow, again, nobody noticed. Nobody noticed. And Kramer and Jerry were shocked. Now, Tom Sharon's mentions, actually, I should mention this, in that scene, they did want to get a close-up of the Junior Mint when it went up in the air. But, of course, with how small the Junior Mints are, it was very tough to grab, and nothing was working out. So for that one close-up shot, they got a York peppermint patty instead, and they tossed that up in the air instead, and that was able to get a more clear shot of it falling in. But then, of course, Roy wasn't apparently doing too well after the surgery. Elaine walked in saying prognosis negative, and I think this is where George, decides to buy his paintings for the $1,900 he has. Jerry has another date with his girlfriend, who, again, he still does not know her name, and while he's doing a massage, he says something about Mulva, but it didn't seem to work. And then Kramer and George have both came in and out of the apartment, introduced themselves. She still did not say her name. She just said, "Nice to meet you," and it's just like, he couldn't figure out the name, and it was driving him crazy. He was even given the idea of looking into her purse and trying to find a driver's license or something while she was in the bathroom. That didn't work either because she came in, she took her purse and went back to the bathroom. No matter what he did, he could not figure it out, and he didn't want her to know that he didn't know her name. So then they go to visit Roy, but they're saying that something came in and helped that infection during the operation, and Roy was going to recover. But then Elaine wasn't really that interested in him anymore. At first, when she saw how much thinner he got, she was saying, once he got out of surgery, maybe we can get dinner sometime, or something like that. And then she was just like, nah, she changed her mind. Of course, Roy's saying how George lifted his spirits, and he goes to give George a hug goodbye and kisses him on the cheek. Or there's a blooper reel where he accidentally kisses George on the mouth, which was a little awkward, but it was funny. So unfortunately, Roy didn't get the other date, but at least he recovered. And then, meanwhile, though, in the last scene, though, Jerry's at the apartment with his unknown named girlfriend that rhymes with the female body part. And then Jerry was desperate. She said that she had some type of an autograph from some singer that he wanted to see. And then while he's doing that, she's starting to put the moves on Jerry, saying, "I think I'm really falling for you, Jerry Seinfeld. I feel like I'm really falling for you too." And he just starts reading the autograph out loud, and she was a little freaked out by it. And then she kind of realized Jerry doesn't know her name. And then Jerry goes, "Yeah, I do." "Well, what is it then?" "Well, it rhymes with part of the female anatomy." And she goes saying, "What is it?" He goes, Wolff? And then she just storms out, and he's guessing all these names. And obviously, it's hopeless. She's done with him, and she doesn't want. Then Jerry closes the door, and then he realizes, oh! So he runs to the window trying to get her attention. And then, originally in the script, apparently they really struggled to come up with a name, like an actual name that rhymes with a certain, female body part. Originally, though, because they wanted to have it sound similar to what the body part was, they came up with Dolores. To me, it sounds like some type of like a fluoride or something like that. So, of course, apparently they were trying to get the audience to guess what the name was throughout the taping. And then I think in rehearsal, Jerry, of course, said Dolores, or something like that. But then someone in the audience guessed Dolores. And the executives heard that and are thinking, that's actually a much better name than what we have in the script. So they liked that. They went down. They changed it to Dolores. So that would cause the ending scene for Jerry to run to the window saying, oh, Dolores! It's Dolores! Which ends, of course, being the name because she actually does make another appearance in the season 8 premiere when her and Jerry briefly get back together because she hears that Jerry was engaged and she thinks that he matured up. Of course, though, it doesn't happen because I think Jerry was talking about something about wondering if his breakup with his fiance was mutual or whatnot. I don't know. I can't remember. I'll have to remind when I get there. But yeah, she comes back again later, this time with a little more of a blonder hair. She dyed her hair a different color a little bit. But yeah, Jerry was hitting off pretty good with this woman, and the reason why it didn't work out was because, just out of dumb luck and him being nervous, he didn't find out her name. I've at least known any girl I've, either talked to or I've technically only been in 3 relationships. I dated one girl for like a week and a half in high school. I dated another girl for 2.5 years, and my current girlfriend and I have been going out for a little over a year. I always knew their names, but I have this little bit of a problem where I don't know how to address her mother, because her mom's not married, and her mom's boyfriend, I address him by his first name. Her mom, I don't know if I should just call her by her first name, or, Mrs. So-and-so, whatnot. So, at least I know their names, but I don't know how to address them, so I'm having the same problem, except I don't think I'm going to be doing what I say, yeah, how should I address you? At least I know my girlfriend's name, so that's that. But Junior Mint, another good episode. Like I said, I feel like it's a good episode. I love it. I do feel like, again, though, it is an episode that, like, when you say Seinfeld, it's one of the things you think of. Junior Mints. And Andy Robin, who thought that he had written some garbage this episode, ended up being a pretty good episode. So, good for you, Andy. And with that being said, guys, that is the Junior Mint. We have the smelly car and then the 2-part pilot episode left, and we'll be done with season 4, guys. So we're moving through pretty good here with the series. I'm loving what we got so far out of these reviews. But yep, we'll be back in the smelly car episode, which don't get any bad BO. But also, make sure to try a Junior Mint sometime. It's chocolate, peppermint, it's delicious. That is true. But guys, what were your thoughts on the Junior Mint episode? Please leave your thoughts down in the comments section below. And be sure, as always, to slap a like on the video and subscribe for more content to my channel. And follow me on Twitter at DemandAirBoy93. Also, I must say this too. Any of my Seinfeld reviews, if you ever have a story that's like similar to a Seinfeld story, like I've shared a few here and there, make sure to leave that story down in the comments section below if you do desire as well. Till then, guys, I'm checking out. I'll see you all later. Have a great rest of your night. Catch you on the flip side. Peace out, everybody.